Your net worth is determined by your network. Who are the people you have in your circle? We hear this often, but I have found that a lot of people struggle with creating relationships or even creating a network. Hi, my name is Jamila Idris, and I help successful high achievers like you create a life of fulfillment and meaning by creating alignment, harmony, and deep connections. As humans, we are social beings and we cannot thrive alone. In fact, one of the leading causes of death by research now, currently, is loneliness. We need people to thrive. At a time when we can connect to anybody across the globe, it's sad that a lot of people are still experiencing loneliness. People are more lonely now than we were before. And this is hugely as a result of our loss of community. We don't have the type of communities we had while growing up. I remember as a child, we were living in a community-like environment where, in fact, my younger sister was not. A lot of people did not know my younger sister was birthed by my mom because she was barely in our house. She was always in the neighbors' houses, and then you would find that, our mothers could travel and do things for themselves because there was a neighbor close by that would be able to step in and take care of her children. Yeah, and I am very aware of some of the experiences that some people had in those type of settings. But rather than cutting community off, it is important that we find ways that we can exist better in communities or create communities that work best for us. And as a high achiever, you need a community of people who think like you or have similar approaches to life like you, so that you are able to function well, so you don't feel crazy. Because when you have people who are not operating on your level, what happens is you either begin to feel overwhelmed because you have so much capacity and you're unable to use that capacity well, or you feel bored in the process where you are now setting very small goals, or you're not working towards that vision, which creates boredom as much as possible. So how do you begin to create this community? How do you begin to put together people who share similar interests and values as you? This is where networking comes in. We have a lot of opportunities to create relationships with people. In fact, these days we have a lot of networking opportunities for high achievers. But what I have found is that these networking opportunities now turn somewhat into a reunion for some people because they only get to interact or talk to the people they already know or they have met previously in those same networking events. So it is no longer as effective as it used to be. Now, what are the other ways that are available to you in building your network? Social media is one of those places. I know a lot of people have different perceptions about social media and how toxic or bad it is. I believe it is a tool and it all goes down to how you use it. I was sharing with someone earlier that my social media feed is curated, that I don't even get to see any negative thing. I don't know, I am very oblivious of some things that are happening, whether in politics or any negative thing happening generally around the world, because I have curated my social media feed to be that, and I barely spend a lot of time on social media. So it is up to you to curate your space on social media. Follow people who would pour into you, people who you would learn from. This becomes your online community. For you to be able to create an online community, you need to be very clear on your vision. What is that vision you're working to create? What is that thing you're working to create? What is that idea you feel can change the world or improve the lives of people? When you lead with this on social media, people who align with this thought or belief or vision would gravitate towards you, and then these people become the members of your community. These people become your online community that you can, seek support from at different intervals. This is one of the places you can leverage on to build your connection. And it is important to build your relationships. It is important that you are aware of the goal, your objective for getting on social media. Are you just going there for clout? Are you going there to catch up on gossips and all of that? So you need to ensure that you're going on social media to build your community, if that is what you really want to build, and you intentionally curate that. You follow the right people, you engage on the right posts, so that the algorithm will keep showing you similar content as much as possible. There are people who are making a living on social media. I have made amazing relationships on social media that we have taken off social media, and it's been thriving for years now, and that can be you as well. So I understand that creating relationships in adulthood can be difficult and tasking, but when you commit to it, it becomes easy for you to execute as much as possible. Now, beyond networking is relationship building. Now you've created this network, you've made this contact with this person. What next? It's all about relationship building is all about investing in your relationship, adding value to the people you have created relationships with, so that it's not just about what you stand to get from them, but rather the value you are giving them. Imagine somebody meeting you for the first time and they are asking you to get married to them on the first day. It's going to sound cringe. Or somebody meets you for the first time and the first thing they are asking, on your first interaction, they are asking for something. You're always going to put up your walls when you experience that. But this is what happens often with people, where you're just meeting somebody and you're already making an ask, especially when the person is influential. Imagine you meet one of the richest people in the world, and if you're asked the question, what will you do, or what type of conversation will you have with the richest man in the world, or one of the richest people in the world, people would basically start putting out their demands. This would not help you build relationships. And this is also a product of the entitlement mindset, feeling like those people owe you something. Nobody owes you anything. Your focus should be more on giving, no matter your level. Even if you think you are more accomplished than that person you are reaching out to, focus on putting out some value, on serving them before you even make an ask. Now, to help you build effective relationships and network better, there are 5 P's you need to follow. So the first P is purpose. So what is the purpose of creating that relationship, or going for that networking event, or engaging in that networking activity? Imagine that you go to a networking event and you're pressing your phone, or you're constantly on your phone. You're going to seem socially awkward. Even though I know for a lot of people, it is difficult for us to, relate with people at first instance. But when you put your phones down and you scan the room, of course, you're going there with the purpose of that activity in mind, what you're trying to achieve. Then it is easier for you to make a move to identify people who align with that purpose and begin to work on a relationship with them. And now let's bring this home. Imagine that, again, you have this very clear vision and goal or idea you're looking to pitch. Before you go for these activities, you identify the type of people you would need to help you move that idea or vision forward. And getting to this place, you are constantly looking or creating conversations or starting conversations with people in a way that will help you achieve that purpose. Now, this is not just about you going to think about what you just take from them, but then you're just creating relationships strategically in a way that will help you achieve your goals. The second thing is presence. Again, for a lot of us, we are very absent-minded. We are in a place, but then we are not there. Our bodies are here, but then our minds are not here because we are constantly on our phones. We are constantly worried about, what's yet to come, or beating ourselves over things that had passed, rather than being in the moment and enjoying the gifts of that moment. So when you find yourself in social events or gatherings where you're going to meet people, you remain present in the moment. You are experiencing the moment right there, not in retrospect, but you're experiencing it there. That is the only way you get to identify, people who would be able to support you in one way, shape, or form to help you achieve your goals or your vision as much as possible. So remember, you have a very clear purpose that is guiding your decision making to go for this event or to engage on this social media platform, or to go for this gathering or whatever event you're going to help you meet other people, even if you're just stepping out of your house. And then the second P is present, that you are present in this situation. This will help you to create quality interactions with people. Imagine that you're talking to somebody and the person is on their phone. You would feel like the person is not listening to you. You'd feel like the person is not being attentive. You don't want a situation where you give that same impression to somebody else. So it is important that you are present. You keep your phone down, and rather than crossing your arms, you open your arms so that you can show people that you are open to receiving them or having a conversation with them. Body language is very, very important when it comes to having conversations with people and creating connections when you go to social spaces. A lot of people you would find always cross their arms while they're talking. This shows a closed off body language, and if you pay attention, a lot of people who do that are usually quiet or don't even have people coming to them to talk, because they are already giving off a closed off body language. But if you want people to approach you, to have conversations with you, always wear a smile, have a pleasant personality, think about something that will help you break the ice with them, establish common grounds, be curious, ask them about what they are working on or their journey to that place, what their trip was to that place, or where they're coming from, something that interests them, that will help you to get to know them better. This is how you get to know. When you ask questions, when you show curiosity and ask questions, this is how you get to know if this person aligns with your own vision and goals or not. So if you're not asking questions, you wouldn't know, and you would make surface judgments about people, and you may lose out on creating authentic or long-term connections and relationships with people. Third P is provide value. Now, we don't want people who only take from us. The most successful people I have met appreciate the most little gifts, because they share that. A lot of people don't think about giving them. People would say things like, oh, they have everything, what can I possibly give them? They can afford anything they want. But that is not true. As long as we are humans, there are things that we don't have. Something as little as getting somebody a pair of stockings will go a long way. You have no idea how, especially men who get to wear stockings every day, struggle with looking for one leg of their socks when they are going out and things like that. So getting them if you're thinking about a gift idea that will help you break the ice or strengthen your connection with somebody, consider getting them a stockings. Don't just focus on, don't think that they don't need this type of things, or they can always afford it. Because of their busy lives, sometimes they also even forget to get some of all these things for themselves. So those little things go a long way. And as a fellow high achiever, you know some of the things that you need, and it will be very thoughtful for you to gift people things. Personally, I love to gift perfumes and teas, because those are the things that I love. So it's very easy for me to gift perfumes to a man or a woman, because if the perfume is too feminine for him, he will give it to his wife or his sister, and at least I have given him a gift and it will, be appreciated. I've had people send me messages months down the line as a result of the perfume I gifted them, and they share how, they receive compliments for that. So when you do this, what happens is that anytime they receive compliments on that thing that you shared with them, they will always remember that this person was the person that gave me this gift, and that will help you strengthen your relationship with this person. So don't just focus on, what you stand to get. Rather, focus on values. Okay, let's even say you don't even have money to give to this person something, even though I know a lot of successful high achievers have the money. How can you curate resources that will be helpful to this person? Maybe you can help the person put together a list of AI tools that, would help them make work easier for them. When you know the space in which the person is operating in, what are those tools and technologies that the person may not be aware of that you have access to, that you can provide them, that you can provide to them as a resource? Or maybe in the course of your conversation with the person, that is why it is very important for you to be present in your conversations. The person mentioned something that they are wanting to do, or they've been putting off, or they desire, or has been a challenge, or has been a pain point for them, and you provide them with a resource or something that would help them solve that problem. That is you offering value. We can offer value in multiple ways other than financially. This can be achieved when we are present in our conversations with people, so that we know at what point to provide value and the type of value that will be important to this person that we are sharing this with. So it is important that you pay attention so that you can build quality relationships and build long-term connections, and at the same time you are giving values in a way that you present yourself as a resourceful person. Nobody wants to be around people who just use them, or people who just take. Everybody is praying to have a good person in their life, right? I believe you also want to have good people in your life. And when we think about good people, we think about people who give, people who serve, people who go out of their way to help us do things. So why can't you be that person as well? So for you to be able to attract good people in your life, you need to begin by becoming that person. Become that person who is thoughtful, that person who thinks about other people, that person who goes out of their way to help people, to support them, to provide them with things that they need even before they ask for it. This shows your resourcefulness and your attention to details, to show that you care about the person and you're not just after what you stand to get. And when you are a person of value and this other person sees you as a resourceful person, you don't even need to begin to ask them for things. They would ask you what you need, or even open you up to opportunities, or even mention your name in rooms that you're not available, so that you have some level of access as much as possible. The fourth P is persistence. Now, a lot of relationships don't pick up at the first instance. Let's say you go to an event, you meet people, and you create a relationship with them. In fact, I'll use myself as a typical example. I like to pride myself as a very lovable person, because if I go into a place, I work on my energy. I do a lot of work before going for any social event, or even going out as a whole, because I want to be present. So when I meet people, I am able to connect with them on that very surface level at the beginning, and afterwards. In fact, at some of those events, I've had events I go to and I create besties at the very instant. And, after the events, I continue to call this person my bestie, and we build an amazing relationship. Sometimes it's not like that for everybody. There are some people who I may not be as close to when I go for, events, and afterwards tend to build a stronger relationship. And then there are some other people who we started as being besties, but then over time we don't just click like that, and then the relationship doesn't go still, but then we are not as close as I had hoped we would be. So relationships takes time. And this is why it is important for you to be persistent. Persistence is the fourth P. Persistence ensures that you are consistently investing in the relationship. You are engaging in activities that puts you in front of that person, or makes you put your thoughts those people's minds as much as possible. If you've done well by giving value, then persistence will be very easy for you. There are levels of interactions, there are levels of relationships and levels of interactions that are required to keep those relationships afloat. So if somebody is very close to you, those people, I would classify them as a one. So the interactions needed will be on a higher level. And then there are some people who are, you know them, but then you're not as close to them, but then you're very cordial with these people. So let's place them at a two. The interaction will be lower than, the group A people, and you won't communicate with them as often as possible. And then there are some other people who you just know. Maybe you've met at a couple of events, or you only met once and you want to continue to nurture that relationship. Let's put them on level 3. So this level 3 relationship, you probably don't get to talk to them as often as any other person, but then when they have special celebrations like religious holidays or celebrations, or their birthday or the birthday of loved ones, you ensure you send them messages to show that you celebrate with them or you're thinking of them as much as possible. This will help you to continue to invest in the relationship and build the relationship in a way that is very, very sustainable. And the last P is personalization. So every relationship is not created the same. There are some people who would be your level 1 connections, who you're very close to, but then you don't communicate with them as often. So you don't put so much pressure on the relationship because you've already established that connection, right? It is important that you personalize interactions to different people. This shows that you are paying attention and you are treating people as individual beings. Every relationship is unique and we all have unique relationships with people. We commit the mistake of, getting some cues or information from other people about the people we are about to create relationships with. What happens is that this creates a bias and limits our ability to create a unique connection with this person. Two people can have the same parents. In this case, I'm using a parent as an example, so it can drive the point home. Two children can have the same parent and experience them in different ways. So the same way, you can have two people can be friends with the same person and experience the person in different ways. This fits into our uniqueness as individuals and how our personality and identity fits into our ability to communicate and build a relationship with this person. So it is important that you personalize that relationship and the interaction you have to this person. You won't say, because I did XYZ with person A, I'll still use the same strategy and methods for person B. It's not going to work. And this is how relationships begin to have a breakdown. So you want to ensure that you are working on all your relationships individually, meeting everybody you're in a relationship with at their level, feeding into their uniqueness and your authenticity as much as possible, so that you create a relationship that is thriving. I hope that with these few points you understand better how to build connections, how to build relationships, and when you find yourself in social circles or social events, you are able to approach people and have conversations and then take it from there. Relationships are not too difficult. The only thing that makes it difficult is because we expect it to be easy. If you understand that relationships, just like everything, require some level of effort, we'll be able to approach it with a better mindset. We won't see varying needs of people that we are in relationships with as an extra demand on us, but we just see it as a part of the relationship. I hope you found this useful. Do like, comment,